Hi and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Sumedha and today I'm taking you with me as I set up my bullet journal for November. Now, I generally don't have a plan. When I set up my bullet journal, I have a generic layout that I follow for a few months and then the next few months I make a new layout. Right now, I'm still following the same layout that I used for the last few months because it's the pandemic and nothing is changing in my life. So yeah, my layout right now is pretty compact and concise. I have nothing that I don't need and nothing unnecessary because I really hate waste space and having things that are not needed. So that translates into my bullet journal as well. As you can see, I've written the name of the month, November, on top with my brush pens, which are Tombow dual brush pens in the pastel colors, and I really love them. I use them a lot for my bullet journal. And then I've written the calendar on the left. That I don't generally use the calendar that much. It's just something that I refer to, and that's why I kept it small and on the left. Before I used to make it big and write dates under it, but now I don't require since I don't have a lot of dates to remember, so it has become smaller. And on the right side, I just write down any dates that I need to remember, which right now are just birthdays. But in case something else does come up later in the month, I leave a little space with a few lines so that I can write them later if I want to, and it won't look too congested. And even if I don't write them, it won't look out of place. So yeah, that's how I plan my setup. Being smart both ways. Yeah, this is a new thing that I did this month, which is the goals section, because this month I actually have quite a few goals that I want to check off and actually, work on. And writing in my bullet journal keeps me accountable for my goals and plans, and that's why I'm writing it down this month. So my goals are pretty simple, just journal every day, read whatever books I need to read, things like that, small ones, not overly great because, as I said, I'm staying at home. On the right side, I usually have my habit tracker, and I'm keeping it the same this month as well. I have tried quite a few different layouts for habit trackers, but since right now my main idea is to keep my layouts very concise and very compact, I've adopted this small layout for the habit tracker, where I just write down how many of calendars I need, and whenever I need to check off for certain dates, I just cross the date off. This month I want to track only 4 things, so I just wrote the calendar 4 times, and the things that I want to track this month are blog, Instagram, whether I draw every day, and the last one I had a hard time deciding, but I made it journal in the end because I am planning on journaling every day, and I want to make sure that I check it off at the end of every single day, just to keep myself accountable. And also I like checking things off. It gives me satisfaction. So some days I might just journal just for the satisfaction of crossing that day off, which is not a fast stretch. I do that sometimes, just do things so I can check it off in my bullet journal. And then the expense tracker, which is my most used thing in my layout because I track my expenses very diligently, and I have been for the last 3 years, and it has worked out well. So if you don't track your expenses, go do that. On my next page, I have decided to do a TBR this month, which is a to be read list. Until last month actually, I had my blog schedule on the next page, where I basically wrote down all the dates and just wrote down the blog posts that I plan to do on whatever days next to the dates. But now that I use Notion for my blog planning, and it's working out well, and I also actually stopped using my bullet journal for my blog for the last few months. It was not needed anymore, and I've switched it to a TBR list this month, which is basically books that I really want to read this month, and it's past time that I read them, to be honest, because most of these are advanced reader copies, and these books have already published last month, and my reviews are overdue so need to read them soon. And I'm not the person I'm not the person who lets things sit past due dates. I hate that. So the fact that I let these books off until now actually kind of grates me on the inside. So here's to hoping I actually get to them in November. This should keep me accountable though, because having it written in my bullet journal keeps me accountable to a lot of things, so that at the end of the month I can come and check off things, and that's really helpful. My other TBR for this month, well, the top one is the main TBR with advanced reader copies and such. The bottom one is the Taylor Swift Playlistathon, which is running from November 13th to December 13th, and the readathon is basically prompts based on Taylor Swift's songs throughout her albums. So the goal is to read about 13 books, I think. 13 books in the month for this readathon. And since there are like over 80 to 100 prompts, I think, I'm not totally sure, but that there is a prompt for every single song of Taylor Swift. So since there are so many songs and so many prompts, you can be sure that as long as you read 13 books, you will most likely hit 13 prompts. But my goal is to hit songs, or check off songs that are my favorites throughout her albums. So right now I'm just writing down all the prompts of the songs that I really like, and writing down the book titles in pencil, what I think will fit that prompt. But since I am a mood reader, I may not stick to these titles exactly. So that's why I've written them in pencil, so that later I can erase them and switch books around in case my mood changes and I read completely different books. Although the challenge is for 13 prompts, I'm writing about 15, so that by the end I can at least hit 13. And that is how I approach most things. Plan extra beforehand so that you hit the actual number by the end. And honestly, that works. So in case you need a tip, there you go. This took most of my bullet journal planning time, actually. This was the part that I spent the most time on this month, because planning a TBR is not easy. It takes a lot of time, and I didn't even do it fully. So yeah, now that all the content is down, I really need to decorate my setup. I generally don't decorate much. I mean, it looks quite fine, but I really don't like a lot of white spaces. So that's why I like to just fill it with some stickers or something, but I don't go in with a plan, as I said before. So I spend time later mixing and matching, bringing out everything that I have, including stickers, washi tapes, and just placing different things around and seeing, like, does this fit? Is it okay? And this month I had a really hard time with that, because as you can see, I chose the color purple as the theme, and I don't have purple colored stickers which would go for it. So I had a really hard time deciding, like, okay, what would fit and what would look good and all that, and it was hard. You can clearly see me struggling with washi tapes, 2 different kinds of stickers, and a lot of things. I have way too many stickers than I need, but that's how every stationery holder is, so don't blame me for that. It's honestly surprising that even though I have so many stickers, in the end nothing really stuck, and I had to kind of mix and match and barely make things fit. You can clearly see how much I'm struggling. I struggled on this for way too long, and then in the end I just decided to do what I do best and color the area and somehow work with it. So although it's kind of cut off screen because I forgot about the camera and the recording and placing it properly, what I did was I just took the brush pen and colored that part there and put a couple stickers over it and called it a day, because I lost patience by then. So yeah. And then on the right side there is still more white space, so I had to fill that as well somehow, which I did after packing everything up because well, my desk was a mess. But so one thing that I would say as a tip for bullet journal setups is, in the end, if nothing works, just draw shapes and lines. Lines and shapes will never fail you. It looks very simple and barely anything, but it somehow works. Lines and shapes will never fail you. So that's what I fell back on this month as well. I just drew shapes, random shapes, and colored them in, and was like, yeah, that looks good. I'm done. And as you can see, it doesn't look bad. It barely took 2 minutes after half an hour of deliberation, but it looks good. And it fills up the empty space without making everything too crowded. And it also fits in with the theme, so I'm good. And that's it for my bullet journal setup. Not much decoration, it's mostly just functionality, but I quite like how it turned out. Here's a quick close-up of everything, and this is my final bullet journal setup. Look and spread and whatever, I don't know words, but yeah, it doesn't look too bad, but it looks good enough, so I'm good. And I'm done for this month. Thank you for watching this video and watching me plan my bullet journal setup with me. If you'd like to see more of this, do let me know, and I will see you with another video quite soon. Goodbye.